All right, so welcome back into the metaverse. Today, we're going to be jumping into a topic I think you guys are going to love, and that is how does film integrate with Web3? How does all this apply to digital assets? What the future of film might look like in the metaverse and other places in a new digital ecosystem? We'll jump into all that. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back to Metaverse Insider. Let's jump into it today with none other than the Chief Operating Officer over at Gala, and that is Sarah Buxton. Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me back, Paul. It's lovely to see you again.
Yeah.
Apologies for my sketchy background and my bad internet connection.
No worries. It's always fun. Hey, Sarah, let's get into film because there's a lot of things happening with Gala. You guys have constantly been on the move here with new announcements. First of all, tell me a little bit about what film is. What's the connection? Where does this all start up?
Okay, shorthand, film is the last piece of the trifecta that is
Okay.
Web3 Entertainment. So games, music, had to be film. We love content, we love storytelling, we love experiences, we love creators, we love to move people. Why would we not do film? So this is something we have been cooking up for a little while, maybe in the background, and we haven't, unlike some things, leaked it too early. So we just announced it at Galaverse back in late May, early June.
So when you look at, all right, so Web3 entertainment, this is something I feel like Gala is the icon that is developing within the space. And Web3 entertainment is one, first, it's very new, not only to artists and entertainers, but it's also obviously new even to, I think, the average person who looks at what entertainment is today. They kind of see the traditional mechanisms, the traditional veins, and the lanes out there that kind of cover everything from gaming to film, music, etc. How do you think this is going to evolve within both the retail side from consumption, but also from the side of it from the artists and entertainers really understanding how to plug in?
This is going to be a long interview, Paul. There's so much that I want to unpack. Let's start with the last bit, which is the creators and the filmmakers, whether they're independent, whether they're well known. I think there's sort of, and I love the power of three. I love talking in threes often. So one, I think getting the creative control back and being able to play with new formats. So we've started to see that. We've started to see make your own stories, changing of endings. We had stuff around, like Black Mirror that was obviously on Netflix. So we've started to play with this idea of film doesn't need to be just one way. It can be interactive and it doesn't need to
Mhm.
start at A and finish at B. And I think that's something that when you start introducing digital ownership, digital assets, when you start playing around with some of the game mechanics we see, I think film as a genre, whether that's movies, whether it's documentary, whether it's, comedy, whether it's animation, there are so many different things that we can sort of now pull in and play with because we've got this new
Right.
technology to do just that. So I think from a creator's point of view, the conversations we're having, they love the idea that they can play not just with the format that you consume, that you watch and see, but also that interaction that you want with an actor or a film franchise or an experience. And I think that's where Web3 and that interoperability and that crossing over into real life becomes incredibly exciting. So with games, we took the approach of really showing how a game is made and involving the community the whole way along. What does that look like when it's film and it's not so contrived and so sort of shiny and perfect and it's sat with the marketing department for 12 months and it's all rolled out perfectly? What if you can be part of a writer's room? What if you can have
Mhm.
an effect on a selection of a cast member? What if one of your NFTs happens to be in the film? Those kind of things I think make it really exciting. And there's obviously a lot from a merchandising point of view which we can get to. So creators are excited about collaboration, and I think to give films more longevity by bringing the community with them and to be having that interaction while they're building as well as once they've launched, post launch, the life a film can have in the metaverse. I think they're incredibly excited by that.
Yeah, I think, one thing that triggers my thoughts when I look, every time I talk with you, I'm always fascinated by the amount of exploratory opportunities that it presents to big markets. and obviously film with music, and obviously within the gaming sector, there's kind of really a new evolution of how artists even will consider how creation is gonna be done in the future. So, what we're seeing now and what you kinda mentioned there is this whole almost crowdsource, element that could really flow into how entertainment is really structured in the future. I love the idea of being able to actually be involved in a film creation, even if it was a blockbuster style scenario where you start to see not only directors, artists, the talent themselves really getting into a different, format of that. How far do you think that is in terms of time frame before we would really see this kinda come to reality, maybe in at least the first, 1 or 2 use cases that could kinda showcase what this means?
Well, we tend to work on things quite hard before we tell people about them, and you know that if you've seen anything around, which I know you have, called Galaverse, how much we
Mhm.
we really do genuinely invest and care about the creative communities, from choreographers and dancers to actors to screenwriters to you name it. So we have an extensive network that we've been building for quite a long time now. So how quickly will you see that come to life? You'll see it within months. Now, that's not going to be a movie blockbuster, of course not. And we've picked things up in different stages of development because we want there to be content very quickly on the platform. That's so
Right.
important for a number of reasons. So you'll get some, and what I love about this entire pursuit really is the flexibility it brings. There'll be lots of different content formats. So there'll be some 10-minute things on there. They'll all be exclusive. They'll all be wonderful, obviously. But from 10 minutes to 20 minutes to documentaries, like I mentioned, to we've got a couple of reality things maybe lined up,
Mm. Okay.
to to fantasy, to animation. And you can see in some of the stuff there, Ian Ico, and I'm hoping to bring him on this channel. I want to sort of promote him to you, because Peter Draw is just wonderful. But his whole thing is, love can happen anywhere, and he's come up with this beautiful Iron Ico brand that's had over
Mhm.
48 billion views. And he's doing something very positive. He wants to bring the animation series to Gala Film. We're doing it, we're building it, and you will see something from him that's pretty magical around Christmas. Other people we've got, their content's almost ready to go, so you'll see content very quickly. And then some of the bigger names and bigger titles, they're going to take a bit longer. But the nice
Yeah.
thing is maybe they're 12, 18 months before release. But what's lovely is, going back to the earlier point, the fans will be on that journey. So the fans
Mhm.
can see it being filmed. They can maybe get on the set for the day, depending what, level of access they've got. They can get some of the props. Maybe they can be an extra. So there's different things we can do to make film not just a 2.5 hour experience, but something so much more profoundly engaging and interesting and exciting. And that's even before you get into the watch to earn model, which you won't be surprised that we have.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Well, I think, what you kind of outlined there is, really kind of not only a revolution, but an evolution in how entertainment will be done. And when you look at this, the opportunities here are pretty dramatic, both for the creator side, the partners, a lot of the everything from product placement, the sponsors, companies that are wanting to get involved in movie making and how this might go forward, because this could really open up to a lot of new sectors, how creativity is done. If you look at things that Disney has done over the years, I kind of reference Gala as, the Disney of blockchain. And when you look at kind of the growth of what they've attempted to do and continue with IP, how important is that evolution for you guys in terms of building up icon IPs because of that opportunity here, especially when you're talking about really opening up the whole creativity process into the mainstream, whether it's through blockchain or some sort of involvement from the fan side. How important is that going to be? Is this
Sure.
something that is going to be an icon for you?
Yeah, there's a lot in there as well, and I think there's kind of a two-pronged strategy here. There is some stuff that I believe, and having these conversations with IP owners, family offices in some instances, or estates, I think that that can have a new lease of life in Web3 because
Right.
we can do it a different way. So you take a well-known title story,
Mhm.
and we do a Web3 version. Maybe it's a series rather than a movie, or the other way around. And I think it'll give it a new lease of life and find it a new home and a new audience. And I think that's incredibly exciting. So you can see maybe things that you wouldn't have thought that you would ever get to see in this format, because we've now got the opportunity to do that. So that's one. With that, you would imagine that there's probably some big names that would like to get involved in recreating some of the more well-known titles and things. And then I think the flip side of that is, yeah, we it's like a game. When we launch games, you're looking for, Fortnite was Epic's game. That was the
Right.
one. That was the one that launched them. And with Zynga, it was Farmville. Gala, we think it's going to be Miranda's will be our big headline. Although maybe I'm a bit biased for picking Miranda's. What is the title that everybody gets fired up and talks about? And
Mhm.
that's something that is profoundly. I use that word a lot, but it is so exciting. Um, but then equally, when you have a big name, we've seen it with, content that's consumed this way. You can get millions and millions and millions of people in because of a certain character or a certain
Sure.
personality. And we're also really, really keen, and again, not surprisingly, because of who we are and where we come from. Anime is massive for us as well. So animation as well as anime. And we know that the audiences around there are really hungry for content and good quality content. So for us, this isn't about, we're not trying to be a shitty version of Netflix. That's not what we're doing at all. Our content will be exclusive and unique. Our content will play with formats in a way that you haven't seen before, that others don't have the flexibility to do. I think that's, people are saying to me about, oh, would you have streamers and podcasters? We are looking at that. Of course we are, because they can monetize in a way with blockchain in Web3 that they can't do on a traditional, sort of
Right.
normal digital streaming platform. So yes, that's very interesting to us, but we're going to take it chunk by chunk as we do. And we'll be starting with those sort of longer form, more controlled content formats before we get into some more of the live stuff that you absolutely can be quite literally bought into that person's channel and benefit from that as a result as well.
Sarah, let's okay, so good point, because I think IP extension is going to be a critical part, especially of Web3 and kind of the evolution of how we are going to see really great IP live forever. I mean, Disney has been pretty good at that, over time. So I definitely think your vision there is on spot. I want to get into, especially because this is one thing in blockchain that I feel kind of represents itself, that it's for the masses. It has the ability to kind of level the playing field. It's kind of like what social media did for young upstarts, what we saw in fast fashion, the growth of direct to consumer. All of that really evolved out of the birth of social media. Social media meaning really leveling the playing field. Massive companies who were competing with Dolce and Gabbana, with you name it, sneaker brand. Now we're talking about doing this maybe in the film, music, and gaming sector. You guys are kind of leading the charge in that. When you look at things like independent filmmakers, also a filmmaker maybe with little or no influence in the category, it's usually where the great filmmakers or great artists are discovered, typically on YouTube or in some venue that doesn't necessarily get that kind of exposure. How will this apply to Gala Film?
Oh, Paul, I'm trying so hard not to leak stuff I shouldn't leak. I will say to you, it was always about like the next wave, the guys that
Mm,
haven't signed the contracts yet, that don't have to sign the contracts, that if they have 20,000 fans, they can be a musician. And I think
right.
that's, something that we are definitely now saying, hang on, time to execute on that plan. We know that the whole ecosystem is obviously going live in the fall. We've got some testing to do over the summer. We're in a pretty good, and we never made any bones about the fact that we wanted that to be self-serve. We want people to be able to come, prove fan fit, and have an opportunity. And we absolutely, and we never want to be, and we absolutely shouldn't be gatekeepers for that. Your talent,
Mm,
your opportunity, you're in control. That's what it's all about. And if you can get the
yeah.
community support, then brilliant for you. Film has an angle to that too,
Mhm.
unsurprisingly. So, film, we will do something very similar as we've done with games. We will put our best foot forward. We will put our money where our mouths are, and we made it to be able to, put it back into the space. That's what it's about. So there will be pieces of content. There are a lot already in flight, as I've said. Lots of contracts being signed this week, which is exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
Yeah.
So those things that we're taking those on, and then there will be an opportunity to take part in that through digital ownership. So you can buy different levels according to what you want to do, and then you'll be able to access watch and earn. Equally, if you're not interested in Web3, if it terrifies you, which I'm sure none of your viewers feel like that, my mother certainly does. You can just pay and watch, and it'll be good enough
Mhm.
content. It's a way of bringing people into the Web3 world that's like, this is just new content you haven't been seen before that might just blow your mind a little bit. And then you might
Yeah.
want to come in and explore, like, how can I get involved? However, there's another side, which is you are able, because we have and we will have a large node network and a community. And the community will have the opportunity to be pledge support to the projects they want to see come to life. And so we're creating right now, we're working with some incredible people in the industry that have been in for a very, very long time. A way that we can capture information from them so that they can present their projects, they can get backing for their projects, and they can go through the system in much the same way as a music artist can. So this is very much about becoming a platform, becoming an ecosystem where it's, everybody wins, and therefore it's incredibly healthy. And the bigger it gets, the happier everybody is, rather than the other way around, which in the traditional space is the bigger it gets, the more everybody kind of gets a bit suspicious and hates it.
Right.
This one should actually be, it should be self-serving, and it should be self-sustaining as a result of that too. So but we're running both of those models side by side. We're quite comfortable doing that, because it's, different people in the team that have got different specialisms in those things. So, and I think we're definitely, why jump in with, well, you can't jump in with one foot, you have to do two. So
Mhm.
we might as well go in and do both strategies together.
Well, distribution is a key element in any kind of media, whether you look at, whether it's the record labels, we look at the film studios, we obviously see that even in the self content created spaces like YouTube and social media. Distribution is really kind of the power of how all of these audiences are built. I mean, it's what we've done with our network. Independent media is becoming more and more powerful in the sense of it's creating these iconic sectors of interest and influence. With that being the case, and you look at things like theatrical release, which could be a unique element in Web3 altogether, how does Gala go about dealing with theatrical release outside the monopolies that kind of control theatrical release today? So, what would that look like for you guys?
Yeah, it is a challenge. Obviously, if it was easy, it would have been done already. I think we're kind of taking quite a an open approach in the same way that we've done with music, which is we're not going to try and fight the system. We're going to
Mhm.
use it to our advantage.
Okay.
So some of the titles that we're bringing on and we're bringing in are big, and they've got distribution deals. They've got things that they're trying to do. So we're carving a space within those deals where it goes with us first. It goes with us exclusively, particularly in a Web3 space, but then we can do, and we've got opportunity to do other things around it. We're happy as long as we feel that that is benefiting the community that we have on Gala Film, i.e., if it's getting watches, you're getting rewarded for that still. We are also really interested, and again, you would have, so basically kind of a hybrid model in some
Mhm.
instances. We know that we're not going to just shift people over. Why would you go to a platform you've never heard? Your entire, need is met on something that you feel like is effectively free, right? You're paying what, $7 a month or something for it, or pounds, in the UK. So we do understand that there is a crossover, and we will be using those guys when it commercially makes sense for both sides to do that. That's why it's important for us to get sort of big titles. I think when you start talking about in real life as well, that's when again it gets really exciting, because for holders, now when you go to a film premiere, it won't be the normal people you would expect to see there, that you, unless you happen to know them or have gone to school with them or have trained at a particular academy with them, you would have never got in. These are the people that actually supported and backed that project at the beginning that are now
Mm.
there, that are now experiencing that, that premiere. And I love the idea. We were looking at it with music as well because of our obsession with this sort of in life immersion, not just through a screen, with Galaverse, real life music events. You know, sometimes it's quite nice to get people into a movie theater and do it properly. And we will be looking at, Cannes Film Festival, Sundance. We will be going to those. We'll be making sure that we're, promoting and doing the right things for our partners on those. Of course, we will. It's really important that this is a massive benefit to them. It's not a compromise for them. And so we will work very closely with them to get that balance right so that they're not having to sacrifice anything, because that's not what this is about, at all.
Yeah. I think with kind of the growth of media overall, we've seen the streaming wars start to occur. Obviously, Disney Plus jumping into the fray over the last couple of years. Netflix struggling with the number of users. Obviously, they've been kind of on a correction course, but they're really pouring a lot of resources into new assets. Then you have new incumbents, whether you look at Apple or you look at Amazon. There are so many players that are kind of coming into the space, but it's all been using the traditional, shouldn't call it traditional, but the current model, which is that of streaming. I even saw just here recently, like Hulu was actually onboarding more Disney Plus members because of the way their content lined up. And I look at that model and I think this is metaverse. The idea is that you're going to have all these really cool content elements, whether it's music, metaverse engagement, gaming, film now from an entertainment aspect, that it starts to create a new arena for how users will jump in. With that being the case, could Gala be at the precipice of really beginning a new evolution for what streaming might look like in the future?
The short answer is yes, but what I guess the longer answer is, do you want to keep commoditizing something that should be enjoyed maybe in a different way? So I think all of the examples you're giving, and this is why the creators themselves are suffering. They don't have the
Hmm.
interaction with their audience, they don't have the data, they're not, there's so many hands in the cookie jar, they're not getting paid. All of these things, because it's actually devaluing content itself because it's highly consumable. And I think
Right.
that's the shame of it. If you can create, we're talking with some of the game guys and Vox, and they're bringing out Odyssey, and some of these games that they're doing, it's like a text-based game, are going to go on for days, like
Right.
days. Like, and
Yeah.
that's amazing, right? So it's this idea of like, yeah, we can keep serving up spoon serving content to people and them not really recognizing or really and most people are watching something on Netflix whilst texting on their phone whilst doing something else, probably cooking dinner. It's not quite the experience anymore. It's not
It's not that
entertainment at its
immersion.
best. So
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
And so this is much more about what you're absolutely right. And you've just put up Ghosts of Ruin there on the screen. That's about a game. It's about being
Yeah.
immersed completely into a game to a point where you're terrified because you can't get out of the game.
Hmm.
Where do you think that's going to go after it's a series?
Yeah.
Possibly it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
game. And then what happens to the game when something happens in the game? Will that affect the series? I would
Mm.
imagine so. And what
Sure.
happens if you've got a character in that game? So all of a sudden, we're taking all that we know from the games industry and we're saying, okay, well, film and music never really got it right. Really. I mean, games is, double the value of music and film combined. So it's like, well, how do you release film? And, at the beginning, I was talking about, oh, well, creators will like it because they love to create. Creators also
Right.
like to make money. They're not
Hmm.
stupid. So all of a sudden, now I can engage with my audience directly. I can give them value, and then I get something for that value immediately that I don't need to
Hmm.
trust anybody because it's in a smart contract. Yes, please. Why
Yeah,
would I not do
for
that?
sure.
So
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that's when it becomes, it becomes very different to a stream it and beam it model, and that's it, because it's literally this one way relationship I've got with content, and we want it to be much more multifaceted than that. I
Brilliant.
talk a
I
lot with
like
my
it.
hands, I've just realized.
I
I don't know
like
what
it.
I'm juggling here, like. Sorry.
All right, so Sarah, let's get into a couple of things because I have several questions here I want to get answered. I got to get these answers. One, of course, is we look at set-top boxes, the success of that. You kind of addressed the scenario with mainstream streaming and where set-top is going. Whether you look at Apple TV, Xbox, et cetera, PS4s, and so on, there's a lot of opportunity there for emerging markets and emerging artists. Do you see those being gateways into the future there for Web3, or do you feel those companies and architectures just aren't ready for what we're about to see in terms of a leap in entertainment technology?
I think they're gonna have to figure it out because I think you're absolutely right. They are a gateway into people's worlds. And it would be crazy if they didn't try and work with companies like ours to try and make that happen. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you do that? So yes, it's definitely on our agenda. And it's the same as, when people say like, Eric Schirmer, who founded Zynga, and they ask us, do you have a mobile strategy? And I was like, yes. So it's one of those things that whether it's a desktop
Oh,
app, whether it's a mobile strategy, whether it's collaboration with, and
I
we've got
love it.
some good friends, unsurprisingly, in the sector, and we'll start making some more friends in the entertainment sector. But the idea is, traditional industries, you don't need to be disrupted and die. You could be disruptive and evolve and actually enjoy part of the future rather than be one that's trying to hold back onto a model that maybe worked a couple of years ago and will still work for a few more years yet. But eventually, if you are a centralized company that wants to keep everything to yourself, you will die because
Yes.
decentralization is coming, and there are a lot more people than there are companies. And so, unfortunately,
Yeah.
if you are stuck with that model, you're not gonna be part of it, which is a shame because that is the way it's going to go, and it'll be the people 10 years from now that won't believe that we used to be the product and we never had control
Yeah.
over anything. They just won't understand it.
Well, it's interesting because we've seen this in the era of even
You've got
here on
Superior
YouTube.
on the screen now, and Superior
Yeah,
I'm really excited about. That
there
is
you
gonna
go,
be a
exactly.
banger of a game.
I
Sorry.
like it. This is a good game too. I was looking at the trailer on this one. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
Graphics on this are
yeah, thanks.
amazing. Don't get me going on the game side. What I was getting at was that, there is this kind of evolution that's happening right now within kind of these sector media houses. And when I say sector media houses, independent media, independent creators, they've been able to break free from what you're talking about, which is these centralized destination points. And they've been able to break outside with merchandising, with other events, obviously creating. There isn't necessarily the platform yet, but because their power is so great, whether you look at Rogan or a Logan Paul or any of those,
Yeah,
the escalation of where not only YouTube and podcasting has gone, then you get into the gaming community. We won't even go into things like PewDiePie and kind of the growth of what the gaming community could look like. But the interesting thing is they've been able to achieve all of that outside of the centralized behemoth. And it seems as
yeah.
though once that metaverse and decentralization really clicks, there's going to be an absolute barnstorm of new creators, I think, coming into the space. You guys should be at the epicenter of what all's going to happen here, for sure.
You're making me so excited. I'm like,
I'm,
"Yes!"
I'm
Everything
pumped.
you say, I'm agreeing with. Yes, let's go! I should definitely work in this space. Oh, wait, I do. No,
Yeah, you're,
yes,
you're in. You're
everything
in
you
it.
just said, I love. Woohoo! Thank goodness.
It's fun. It's
I
fun.
I I I could not agree with everything you just said more. Yeah, it's so exciting, and you watch what those guys are doing. I think what's really interesting, and I was having conversations with someone the other day, and they were talking about, oh, years ago there was the movie coin, and effectively, I mean, it was based on a MySQL database and a nice little bit of UI, but the premise was you could store up your movie coins, like a bit like we had in the UK. We used to have in the 90s luncheon vouchers, and your company would give you luncheon vouchers and then you could go and spend them at restaurants. So we've always had these little gamifications. And I said, yes, but it's not that. I was like, it's not that. It's such a superficial layer. I was like, this is
Yeah.
something that is fundamentally different. It's built,
Hmm.
it's real, it's transferable, it's saleable. And that's the bit that I think people are starting to wrap their heads around, that actually there is something functionally incredibly valuable here. And as a content creator who, again, I'm hoping you will meet very soon, he's got his whole NFT strategy around what he's doing. And
Yep.
for him to have that freedom of like, this is my content, these are my short films, and he is an award-winning filmmaker. But now he's got that extra bit. He never got to do the commercials before. He never got to
Yeah.
say how valuable something was, and that people could take different bits of value from it according to what they liked, and whether they wanted to come on set, or whether they wanted a beautiful piece of art, or whether they wanted to be, actually credited in the film and help in some way. Like, he never got to do any of that. And now he can, and he can create a club around it, and he can create a community around it, and he can support other artists. And I think, that is so exciting. So not only will they have the platform, which you're absolutely right, some of them have now grabbed it and they've done it for themselves, but they've now got the freedom and flexibility for how they want to earn too. And I think that
Hmm.
is the next level. So this isn't now
Yeah.
just about fame. This is about a fundamental shift in how we are entertained and how we entertain each other as well. And I think that two-way is what's critical to the whole smart contract, blockchain, whatever you want to dive into technology wise. But without that, none of this would be possible. You're absolutely right. We could have done it in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it's something so
It's
different.
it's going to be such I think a breakthrough innovation period that we have over the next few years are going to be really fun to watch. Okay, so let's talk about the economics of how film might work, Gala Film, in the essence of nodes, also with the NFT Pass. Let's talk a little bit about that on the Film Pass itself. How do these play into it, and where do you see this from an economy side of things, kind of being part of this whole process?
Uh, I'm it's so funny. The amount of stressful calls we have. So we argue a lot internally. We don't always get on. That's going to surprise everyone.
That's a
Especially
good
when you
sign.
have Yeah, like, but when we have a couple of very opinionated economists on that are doing all their model, and then you want to change it, and they're like, "No, you can't do that because of this,
Yeah.
this, and this." And it's brilliant. I love it. I love those debates. The good news is we've stopped debating now, so that's a result. Down the rabbit hole do you want to go? So first layer, like I said, you can literally just come and watch and enjoy this new forms of entertainment, things that you maybe haven't seen before, or people that you know, and the content that you've loved from them before. You're now curious about what they're doing over here. So you can come and you can watch. The next level down is, be part of it. So there's similar to game, really different levels of assets you can buy, digital assets based on several things. So the nature of what the film is, and we use film not because I'm British and I'm saying movie, but because it could be, a
Yeah.
behind the scenes 10-minute exclusive on something, or an interview or whatever it is. So it just gives us the flexibility to talk about formats. So you can come in, and those different NFT levels means that no matter who you are, there's something, depending what you like, obviously, that you can maybe buy, and then you will have the benefit and the access to that. What you can also do once you hold an NFT for a film is that can be paired with a node, and then you can earn from it because there's work
Yeah.
happening, because those nodes, true Gala style, will be responsible for an awful lot of our platform because it's
Mhm.
decentralized. So early on, we haven't done a public sale yet. It is coming, but we wanted to make sure that we were looking after our community first, the people that have been with us since the beginning. That's really important to us. So it wasn't a you need this, but it's like, guys, if you want it, this is going to be coming out, so you can get in now if you would like. Those nodes will obviously be our priority, and there will be some distribution rewards happening
Oh,
pre coin, pre token launch. So that's
okay.
exciting, and don't worry, music fans, music is still gonna the music coin and things will still launch first. Music is ahead, but we're just these film and music really are siblings. They're gonna work next to each other. I think there's some really lovely content sharing opportunities there as well. Music videos, just to be really clear, live on a music
Mhm.
platform. Don't worry,
Yeah.
you will still get the music videos. And so yeah, the network will power that content, host the NFTs, and they will earn distribution rewards for doing that as well. So, and that's how the token, as with Gala Games, will be generated as well. And then the more watches content gets, the more rewards you get on them, from the distribution for that as well. So popular content's a good thing to support.
For
And the
sure.
key, I think, particularly in projects, is to find the title, find the script, find the writer that you believe in, get involved early, lower entry point, smaller distribution in terms of that quantity of NFT, and then obviously the more watches they get, the more then you benefit from their success too, which is great.
Last couple of questions for I like that approach because I think this is it's very fascinating to me in the sense of how just entertainment is being really kind of reshaped right now. And I think, with Web3, a lot of industries will get this new makeover, so to speak. But I think from a sense of entertainment, gaming, music, all those things, they're just a natural evolution for it. The fashion side I feel is also one that will continue to see some growth there. But
But
when you look, go ahead.
for sure. No, I was just saying there's some super cool stuff happening with fashion that I get to spy in on as well. But
It's
no, we're
fun.
not going into fashion, just so you know. But there's
No,
definitely
no
some
gala fashion
interoperable
next.
moments there. Not yet, not yet. We really
Yeah.
need to get games, music, and film. The trifecta solid. That's all we're doing. Entertainment.
I like it. I like it. Okay, so last 2 points here. One is advertising, and the traditional mechanism of advertising is traditionally what drives all of film, media, TV, etc. Will this be kind of on the same track, or do you feel like there's going to be a whole new array of alternative mechanisms for which creators can earn revenue from? That maybe advertising starts to be completely displaced. I won't say removed, but just used in a different way around these. Because I already see this happening on places like YouTube quite a bit.
I would really love, and I come from a big brand background. That was easy for me to say, where I've helped some of the biggest brands in the world sell a lot of stuff in the past. I would really love it if this wasn't that platform.
Yeah.
I would really love it if we disrupted the advertising model. I think in films, and we've seen, obviously, as a crypto company, we have had people talking to us about films for a very long time because they associate you with disruption and also investment, of course.
Hmm.
Have a product placed in this, and that's how the film industry runs. You need
Right.
people to come in. You need those brands to say, yeah, we'll put our car, we'll put our drink, we'll put our restaurant into your movie. I don't think that's going to go anywhere for a while necessarily. But what I think this does is give you the opportunity to only really say yes to the things that make sense. Because
Hmm.
actually, you do have another revenue stream. You do have a way to unlock new value because of the way you're producing this stuff, because you're bringing the audience on the journey with you, because there's
Yeah.
a longevity to a film through the ownership and the whole infrastructure that we're building that probably hasn't existed since people have used to have films on VHS or DVD and could sell them on because actually it was yours. Now
Yeah.
it's like how many times when you buy a film on, and I do this all the time, I'm like, I could rent it or I could buy it for £1 more, and I'm like, why would I not buy it? And then of course I never watch it again. So it's I think we do just need to keep an open mind. We sure as hell don't have all the answers yet. And I'm so comfortable with that because we've got enough of the answers to still make this brilliant.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so once we learn and once we get this thing going, and the community always tell us how they feel and they will give us the steers, the creators will give us the steers, the response to the content we put up will give us the steers, then we can start talking about if a brand adds genuine value, either commercially without disrupting the experience or even better to the experience itself, come on in, no problem.
Y- Yeah, I think that's you just hit on it, is that the experiential side of it from a brand standpoint. I mean, Red Bull has done it and they've been able to do it to a certain
I love
extent, kind
Red
of
Bull.
creating,
Yeah, they're
you
a
know,
great
and
brand for
and they've
sure.
done it from an experiential side of things, whether you look at what Felix did or you look at their, down here in South Florida, we have these crazy Red Bull Olympic style launches out into the bay. I mean, these are the kind of things that not only
Yeah,
are
we
great
do that in
content,
Britain as well.
but they're
Yeah,
just so much fun, and I think when
yeah,
brands get that
exactly.
connection, now you're on the same train and wavelength as a creator because they're trying to figure out how to
Yes,
take that
I
IP
agree.
and really just, explode it. So I think there's definitely some opportunity there. Sarah, it's always fun talking to you. I love kind of jumping in and picking your brain.
And I'm
It's
so
always
sorry,
fun.
my light's been getting darker and darker, and my camera's been getting fuzzier and fuzzier. And I'm like, eventually, I'm just going to disappear. And that'll be that.
Don't worry about it. It's been a good one. We're definitely going to have you back on, and of course the Gala team. We got lots happening with Gala, so you guys are going to be in for some really fun times here on the network. So make sure and stay tuned right here. And Sarah, thanks again for stopping in today. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Paul. Thank you so much. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you
Excellent.
soon.
Okay. All right.
See you.
So
Bye.
you guys are tuned in over on the podcast right now. Make sure and jump in over here to the YouTube channel. This is where you're going to catch all these great deep dive interviews. It's also where we really do a drill down on what's happening in the metaverse space, not only from a token side, but new games and projects, NFT projects, a lot of creators coming in on our show. So make sure and get over here on the YouTube channel. Make sure and hit subscribe and like a few videos. That'll get you into the algorithm and it'll start feeding you some cool stuff from PBN. Of course, if you want to reach me, it's out on Twitter at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on Metaverse Insider.